Your presence means the world to us. A heartfelt thank you to those who stand by our storytelling journey. With nearly 90% of viewers yet to subscribe, your support is more crucial than ever. If you believe in honest, emotionally gripping narratives, please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell to stay updated. And tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Elena had always worn the title of perfect wife, like a badge of honor, graceful, composed, and relentlessly devoted. At just 32, she managed a delicate balancing act, thriving in a competitive design career while being a loving, attentive mother to two spirited children, ages 6 and 8. Her husband, Ethan, a committed accountant with a gentle heart, worked tirelessly, often returning home after nightfall, weighed down by spreadsheets and deadlines. Though he loved his family with every fiber of his being, their life had fallen into a rhythm that left little space for passion or play. The fire that had once danced between them now flickered quietly, dulled by the relentless responsibilities of adulthood. While Ethan provided stability, what Elena found herself aching for was spontaneity, laughter that bubbled up unforced, glances that lingered, the touch that didn't feel rehearsed. That craving, once vague and hidden, found clarity in an unlikely place. Her neighbor, Aiden, who had moved into the house next door just over a year ago, was in his late 30s, easygoing, approachable, and always ready with a joke or a smile. He blended into the neighborhood effortlessly, especially charming the children with his warm, engaging energy. There was something in his eyes, something thoughtful and mischievous at once, that caught Elena off guard the first time they truly spoke. What began as passing hellos across the hedges soon deepened into frequent, meaningful exchanges. Conversations about the weather evolved into intimate talks about childhood memories, creative passions, and late-night confessions neither had expected to share. They helped each other with garden chores, laughed over clumsy accidents, and slowly blurred the lines between neighborly and something more. Elena found herself anticipating the sound of his footsteps on gravel, the knock of his rake against the fence, the way he said her name as if he were tasting it. Each encounter stirred something dormant in her, a flutter of excitement she hadn't felt in years. At first, she told herself it was innocent, that the spark she felt was just a passing high, something fleeting, harmless. But as the weeks passed, their interactions grew heavier, more charged. She felt the pulse in the silence between their words, a magnetism that tethered her to him. Then came the evening that changed everything. Ethan was still at the office, buried in year-end reports. The kids had finally drifted off after their bedtime stories, and Elena, restless and aching for connection, decided to act on an impulse she could no longer suppress. She crossed the lawn toward Aiden's porch under the cover of dusk, supposedly to borrow a book they'd once discussed. Her footsteps were careful, yet quickened by a mixture of dread and anticipation. Aiden greeted her with the kind of smile that melted resistance. They sat on his porch under a canopy of stars, their words meandering from silly film critiques to vulnerable dreams they barely admitted to themselves. The world around them faded, each laugh bringing them closer, each silence loaded with unspoken thoughts. When he gently reached up to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear, Elena stilled. Time seemed to pause in that moment. His fingers grazed her cheek and her body reacted before her mind could intervene. The kiss that followed wasn't planned. It wasn't tentative. It was full of hunger and longing, the unearthing of years, of buried desire. And Elena responded. It was as though someone had sparked a flame she didn't know still lived within her. Her heart pounded, her skin tingled, and a thrill so sharp it bordered on pain flooded her senses. For those few breathless seconds, she wasn't a mother, a wife, or a professional. She was simply a woman, alive and aching. But the high of that stolen moment didn't last. As she stepped away, the air grew heavier. The guilt settled in like a shadow she couldn't shake. Back home, every glance from Ethan, every giggle from the children felt tainted by her secret. And yet, her thoughts wandered back to Aiden, over and over again. What followed were weeks of emotional chaos, Elena found herself pulled into two worlds, one grounded in love and loyalty, the other burning with excitement and forbidden connection. She would laugh with Ethan at dinner, then replay her conversations with Aiden while folding laundry. A part of her felt anchored to her family, while another part had already drifted far away. Each accidental meeting with Aiden left her shaken his. Lingering glances, their hushed conversations across driveways, the occasional brush of his fingers against hers. The distance between them collapsed with each encounter until even the smallest interactions felt electric. Their bond escalated into stolen moments, hurried embraces, and hidden corners. Whispers of longing traded behind closed doors. The rush, the fear, the intensity, it was all consuming. And yet the guilt only grew sharper. Every time Ethan expressed his love, offered to take the kids so she could rest, brought her coffee unasked, Elena felt herself splintering. She loved him. She had loved him, but now something was different. Something had shifted so fundamentally that she could no longer pretend. As Aiden's presence grew more significant. So did his concern. One night, after sharing memories of a spontaneous beach trip where they had lost themselves in laughter and sea breeze, Aiden looked at her seriously. "Elena," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "we can't keep doing this. You need to decide what you really want." His words landed like a blow. The reality she had avoided came crashing down. She had built a fragile house of lies, and it was starting to crumble. That night, Elena slipped into bed beside Ethan, the scent of his cologne now oddly unfamiliar. She stared at the ceiling, tears stinging her eyes, her heart aching with conflict. The following morning, clarity finally came, not as peace, but as necessity. She could no longer lie. To Ethan, to herself, after the children left for school. She called Ethan to sit down. Her hands trembled. Her voice cracked. "Ethan, we need to talk." His face registered confusion, then concern. "What's going on?" he asked. Her throat tightened. "I've done something that's hurt us." She laid it bare, the feelings for Aiden, the kiss, the deceit. And as the truth spilled out, Ethan's face collapsed into heartbreak. He said nothing at first. Then, softly, "Was I not enough?" There were no words that could soothe that wound. She could only cry, unable to explain the emptiness that had led her astray. Their conversation spiraled into anguish, raw emotion pouring out on both sides, grief, betrayal, disbelief. Elena watched as the trust they had built over a decade crumbled in a single morning. And yet, through it all, a strange clarity emerged. She had shattered something beautiful. And now, all that remained was the truth and the uncertain road that followed. "I'm so sorry," Ethan whispered, her tears cascading down her cheeks. "My intentions were never to cause you pain." Ethan's silence resonated with an overwhelming intensity. After what seemed like an endless stretch of silence, he finally uttered a word hiss. "Tone icy in remote time is what I seek at this moment. I find it difficult to meet your gazeas." Ethan retreated into his own world. Elena experienced a profound sense of isolation. The burden of her choices weighed down on her silent. The remorse felt overwhelming. She had lost the man who had been her steadfast companion for years, father of her children, and the love she had once taken for granted. Weeks slipped by us. They maneuvered through the agonizing consequences of their clash. Ethan remained aloof, and Elena sensed the gulf between them expanding further. She made an effort to extend her hand as the days morphed into weeks. Elena and Ethan grappled with the challenge of finding their footing. Air in the house was thick with the weight of unvoiced thoughts and lingering emotions. Ethan frequently toiled into the night, steering clear of dialogue that might open the door to further anguish. Lena, in stark contrast, found herself engulfed by a profound sense of guilt and regret. She had not only betrayed her husband, but also the very foundation of the family had painstakingly constructed together. Seeking clarity, Elena turned to her close friend, Sophia's steadfast source of support throughout her journey. One afternoon, as they sipped their coffee, Elena suddenly broke down in tears, revealing all the affair, the guilt, and the hurt she had inflicted. Sophie absorbed every word, her heart heavy with empathy for her friend. "Elena, you must reflect on what you genuinely desire." Sophie Said softly, "Are you inclined to mend the fabric of your marriage, or have you decided it's time to embark on a new path?" Elena found herself in a state of conflict, a fragment of her buying yarn to revisit the life she shared with Athanto, mend the fractures and restore the affection that had once flourished between them, yet a different part of her was irresistibly attracted to the thrill and fervor she had discovered with Aiden. She understood that it was essential to face her emotions with sincerity, not only for her own sake but also for Ethan's. After considerable reflection, Elena resolved to engage in another dialogue with Ethan. She felt compelled to convey her longing to mend their relationship, to demonstrate her readiness to invest the effort required to restore their trust. As the night settled in and the children drifted into slumber, she found herself seated beside Ethan, her heart racing with anticipation. "Ethan, I understand that I have caused you great pain and I cannot undo my actions," she began, her voice quivering, "yet I yearn to endeavor to set things aright. My heart is yours, and I am determined to stand strong for our union." Ethan's face was a mask of inscrutability as he absorbed the words around him. Elena pressed on, unveiling her regrets and the understanding that her choices had emerged from a void she must confront. She recognized her errors and pledged to embrace transparency and honesty in the future. "I understand it will require patience," she said, her eyes searching for empathy, "but I'm ready to invest the effort if you are ready." Her astonishment, Ethan did not brush her off, nodded slowly, a gentle softness settling over his expression. "My heart yearns to trust you, Elena. However, regaining my trust in you will require some time. It is essential for us to seek counseling together." Elena experienced a flicker of optimism, started participating in therapy sessions, a space where they could confront their emotions in a secure setting. The journey stretched unmarked by its length and the weight of sorrow, punctuated by tears and challenging dialogues. Gradually, they began to mend the bond that had slipped away from them. Ethan opened up about his feelings of betrayal and sadnesses. Elena delved into her own motivations and desires. As they journeyed through therapy, Elena started to uncover the significance of self-reflection. She delved into the motivations driving her behavior, acknowledging that in her quest to embody the ideal wife and mother, she had overlooked her own needs and desires. Through therapy, she discovered the vital role that communication, vulnerability play in a relationship once she had neglected for far too long. As the days unfolded with unwavering patience and diligent effort, Elena and Ethan slowly unearthed the deep affection they once shared. They began to embark on regular date nights, carving out moments to rekindle their bond and savor each other's presence once more. Their laughter intertwined, each showing the sweet memories of their early days as a couple and the path they had traveled together. Elena came to cherish the little moments, manner in which Ethan prepared her morning kefir, the way he engaged with the children in the backyard. She discovered delight in the mundane, understanding that love transcended grand displays. It resided in the simple acts of kindness and the unwavering support they extended to one another. In the midst of her advancements, Elena found herself grappling with her emotions for Aiden. She recognized that although he had infused her existence with thrill, had simultaneously sparked her impulsive tendencies. After considerable reflection, she resolved to sever her ties with Aiden. She knew it was time to embrace her marriage wholeheartedly and let go of what once was. In a quiet afternoon, Elena settled beside Aiden, her heart weighed down yet steadfast. "Need to talk," she said, her voice unwavering. "I have decided to prioritize my family, and my marriage with this friendship can no longer persist." Aiden's expression transformed from astonishment to comprehension. "I understand, Elena. Was never my intention to intrude upon the bond you share with your family. I wish for you to discover the joy that is rightfully yours." As she turned to leave, Elena was enveloped in a bittersweet blend of sorrow and liberation. Farewell was tinged with bittersweet emotions, marking the end of a chapter rich in both exhilaration and sorrow. She stood poised to welcome her new realities. The months unfolded. Elena remained dedicated to nurturing her marriage with Ethan. They marked significant moments together, from anniversaries to family getaways, deepening their bond with every shared experience. The journey toward healing was fraught with obstacles, yet they confronted each one side by side, bound by their unwavering dedication to each other. Elena discovered the importance of communication and honesty, working to foster an environment where both could share their emotions freely, unburdened by the fear of judgment. She started to welcome her own passions beyond her duties as a wife and mother, rekindling the hobbies that once filled her with joy and fulfillment. The journey of therapy and the power of candid conversations Elena and Ethan reshaped. The very fabric of their relationship forged a partnership that transcended the ordinary, uplifting one another's aspirations and desires. Ethan wholeheartedly urged Elena to delve deeper into her graphic design, acknowledging the significance of her personal development. With the shifting of the seasons, their relationship underwent a transformation. Elena and Ethan reveled in the warmth of their rekindled affection, discover a deeper bond that surpassed their previous connection. They came to cherish the allure of their flaws, understanding that love is an odyssey marked by its peaks and valleys. Elena reflected on her journey. She understood that the affair had served as a painful yet essential catalyst for her growth. It compelled her to face her yearnings, her missteps, and the significance of cultivating her connection. Ultimately, she rose with newfound strength, aimed self-awareness, and a profound dedication to crafting a life rich in love, truth, and meaningful connection. The scars of her past lingered. Elena recognized them as integral to her narrative, a tale woven with threads of resilience and redemption, and the transformative power of libido mend even the most profound wounds. In hand with Ethan, Elena observed their children frolicking in the yard, a profound sense of tranquility enveloping her. They were not merely existing, they were flourishing, poised to welcome whatever the future had in store for them as a united front.